In this short video, I'm going to show you the basics of APA in-text citations. Now, for most beginning writers, whenever you're just getting started integrating research, there will be 4 basic ways that you are likely to have to create an in-text citation. And in this short video, I'm going to cover all 4 of those. So the first thing we're going to start with is what's called a narrative in-text citation for a paraphrase. Now, first of all, what does narrative mean? What that just means is that you have included the author's name in your narrative as you set up the source. And then a paraphrase, of course, is when you have taken the author's information and put it in your own words. So in this first paraphrase, which is just made up, this is not a real source, I have mentioned the author's last name, Jones, as I set up my paraphrased information. When I do that, I have to put a set of parentheses, and then the year of the citation right after the author's name. Now, one thing to note is that we only use last names in APA format because it's a little more formal. But this is the first type. So I have author's last name, year, and then here comes my paraphrase, and that's all I do for my in-text citation. Next is if I am giving just a regular APA in-text citation and I have not used the author's name as I set up the information. So in this case, I just have my paraphrase and then I follow it with what I tend to call a more traditional APA in-text citation, where I just have the parentheses, and inside the parentheses, it's author's last name, comma, and then the year. But let's say you're introducing a quote. So there are a few different things that you will have if you are using a quote instead of a paraphrase. So this is again back to the narrative in-text citation. So this means I've used the author's name as I've set up my quote, but then I'm using a quote instead of a paraphrase. So I have according to Jones, there's my author. I have the year inside the citation, and then I'll have the quote. You want to make sure that when you're using the author's words, you put those words inside quotation marks. Then the other additional thing that you have to do is you have to put the page or paragraph number at the end. Now, I put a paragraph number in case you're using an online source. It may not have page numbers. You use paragraph and you use P-A-R-A period and then the paragraph number. This could also be P period 5 instead of the P-A-R-A, and what that means is you had actual page numbers, and if you do, you can just use the P period. Finally, the last but not least, you have just the regular APA in-text citation for a quote where you have not used the author's name in the setup. So here I'm just leading into the quote, and then here comes my quote. One thing I want to note is that you never want to just drop in a quote without some kind of lead in. So if you don't say according to and mention the author's name, you want to make sure that the sentence before still at least kind of transitions to the quote in some way. But I'm presenting the quote. Of course, I'm using quotation marks around the quoted area. And then in my in-text citation, I have author's last name, comma, year, comma, and then of course the page or paragraph number. In this case, it's P-A-R-A for paragraph number, and then the number 5, and then the period goes at the end. And that's it. It's really pretty simple. I think that you will find that these 4 types of in-text citations will cover most of your needs, especially if you are kind of just getting started integrating research and source material into your writing. Thank you for watching.